Hi. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you had a great Christmas, and I know it's the last week of the year. And I wanted to talk about this topic because a lot of people, we've had people like students, housewives, house husbands, CEOs, and even a couple of billionaires who we talk to on a regular basis for their health, who have this one commonality that we feel empty. And my question for the longest time is, how can you feel empty when you have so much? Because believe it or not, a lot of people feeling empty, okay, have a lot going on well in their life. A lot of them are not unhappy in their relationships. They're not unhappy with the amount of money they're making in their job. A lot of them are not unhappy with the way their businesses are running, but yet they feel empty. We're noticing this trend in teenagers as well as and very young adults who are well placed. They're getting good educations, they have good friend circles, but yet they feel, I feel empty at the end of the day. And that's not a feeling that I like, because it's something that makes you feel, as you start to connect with yourself, you feel that all this around me should be making me happy, but it's not. So then what really makes me happy? And a lot of people start to, pause their life and they say, we want to find the meaning of life and we want to find all of that. It may be unnecessary for you to have to find the meaning of life. Moreover than finding what your purpose in life is and how you've been living your life right up till now. So before we start today's masterclass, let's set an intention. It's very important that we set intentions. This is something I've learned from a very, very close friend of mine who teaches spirituality. And it's always good for us to set an intention, because we're giving 30 minutes of our life or 40 minutes of our life to this particular masterclass. So let's set an intention to maybe find our answer in this particular session, or something that we learn in this session, we're able to implement it. It just doesn't become a session which sounds good and it's something that's now become our past once it's over. Maybe we're going to listen, absorb, relate, do a little bit of homework and take away a lot or even a little bit that can help us overcome emptiness. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow, maybe 1 month later. So that's our intention, to make the next couple of minutes that we have together meaningful for us and in some way productive. So let's start. A lot of people use this statement, it's lonely at the top if you're going to be successful. If you're going to be a CEO, if you're going to be an actress or an actor or a singer or an artist, it's lonely at the top. Okay, number one, your mindsets and your belief system is what controls the way you feel. So if you have that mindset, you got to change it. It's never going to be lonely at the top. It's going to be different at the top. It's going to be different at every aspect in your life. When you start to evolve in spirituality, when you start to evolve as a person, you'll find that it's time that, you've outgrown certain relationships. Certain friendships now need to change. So it's different, because as you change, things can never really be the same. You were different when you were 13 years old. You were different when you were 20. You were different when you're 29. You're different now when you're 35, 40, or 50, or 60, or 70, because you're changing. You're maturing. There's a certain amount of maturity that comes. We like to hold on to our comfort zones and think that, no, it's not changed. I still do the same things. I think the same way. You try to hold on to that identity that you don't want to lose. But sometimes gracefully, you got to allow it to go, because things are always going to be different. They cannot be the same. And if you choose to stay in the comfort zone that you're probably in right now, you're only going to have what exists in the comfort zone. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. If that makes you happy and truly happy, and you're not feeling empty, you can stay in that zone. But if you're in that comfort zone and you're still restless, you're still feeling unfulfilled, empty inside, maybe it's time that life is showing you that you now need to move slowly out of your comfort zone. So like I said, it's never lonely at the top. It's just different. So first, we got to change the words that we use. Second, we got to change our mindsets and belief systems that limit us and hold us back. The number one reason for most people feeling empty in all of our consulting hours over the last 9 years is comparison. When you feel empty, there are many reasons that we're going to talk about today. When you feel empty, the first thing you want to check, who am I comparing myself with? What part of my life am I comparing with other people's lives? Because that will leave you feeling empty no matter what you have. Because when you start the process of comparison, while you start investing energy into the lives of other people, you start to lose focus on what you already have. When you're not comparing, you have the ability and the energy to focus on what you have that once made you happy. If it made you happy at one point, it can make you happy today. Why did that car that you bought made you happy in the first 1 week, in the first 1 month? If it gave you happiness then, why is it not giving you happiness today? You got used to it, or you saw someone with a better car and now you want a better car. There's no problem with striving. There's no problem with ambition. Okay, you can want what other people have. Okay, but don't put that energy into envy and into comparison. Put that energy into, okay, if I want that, what do I need to do to get that? Do I need to save more money, make more money, maybe sell something else and get something else? But the energy that you put into comparison and greed and envy and only wanting with no action is what leaves you in a pocket of misery. And only you can fill that by stopping comparison. That is the first thing. You're comparing your child's marks with someone else's marks. You're comparing your body with someone else's body. You're comparing your success at this point in your life. Oh, I'm 32. All my friends are married. All my friends are successful. And here I am. Of course, you're going to feel empty. But remember uniqueness. Everything in life, your life, comes to you at the time it's meant to come to you. Just because it's happening to other people on their timetable doesn't mean it's got to happen to you. You don't control that timetable. The universe controls your timetable. God controls your timetable. As much as you think you're in control, you got to slowly start letting go. You are not in control of that timetable. You can be in control of your timetable every morning. I wake up at this time, I have a morning routine. These are the 5 actions I need to do, eat at this time. That timetable you are in control of. You're not in control of your life's timetable. That's why some people mature faster than others. While some people are still dating, other people are building their careers. And by the time those people build their careers, those people have moved on to something else. Everyone matures and grows at their own pace. So you need to respect that pace. And you got to stop comparing yourselves. It's like apples and oranges. You can go on comparing them. They're always going to be different. It's the same thing with human beings. And the moment you start comparison, believe me, that becomes such a nasty habit. You don't just start comparing. Let's say today it's your body that you're comparing. Now that you started the habit of comparison, tomorrow it's going to be your money, your car, your handbag, your watch. It's going to be your kids. It's going to be everything. It's a nasty habit that only you can break, and you got to break it now. And while we don't look at this, if you don't accept that comparison is what's making you empty, if it is, you start blaming everyone else. I don't have this. I'm not good enough. That other person is better than me, and you just get into that negative victim mode of self-pity, which is very limiting, very, very limiting. In fact, it robs you of the energy of life. So comparison is number one. Number two, what's wrong with a little bit of alone time or being lonely? What's wrong with a little bit of solitude? It's in solitude that people get the most creative ideas. It's in solitude that people really find their purpose in life. It's in solitude that you really, really find out whether this relationship is working for me or not. Or your mind is being filled with all of your girlfriends and boyfriends telling you what love should be, how your partner should behave. Oh, they did this. Oh my God, that was so wrong of him or her. And you're constantly thriving on the opinions of other people. But in solitude, you will find out, your heart will give you an answer of what really it is in life that matters to you, in a relationship, in a business, in the workplace. You're not thriving on the opinions of other people, which are all different. So solitude can be good for us. There are a lot of people in crowds, they feel lonely. They like to surround themselves on social media with the virtual world. In crowds, they like to be among so many people. I have so many friends. I'm always at parties, and they're lonely. Even in a crowd, they're empty because that's not what fulfills them. It's not the crowd that fulfills them. If it fulfilled you, you wouldn't be empty. It's not the number of likes on social media or the number of followers that you have that fulfill you. If you're still empty, it should have fulfilled you by now, right? But it didn't. So that is not fulfilling you. The third reason, you've lost connection with your inner self, with your gut, with your soul, with your spirit. When you're disconnected, because you're connected completely with the outside world, you become a puppet to everything out. Today, news starts your day off in the wrong way. Tomorrow, it's a post that you saw. Someone criticized you. You got to know one of your friends was backbiting on you or gossiping about you. And you get swayed in all ways. Of course we will. We're human. We're all going to feel that emotion and that hurt. But it's up to us to reconnect to our inner selves, to know that there are all kinds of people. People who will gossip, people who will bitch, pull you down, tear you down to their average selves. People, the news that is designed to make you fearful, designed to make you anxious. You know that this exists. So when you have the knowing that people can also change, that same friend of yours can become your enemy tomorrow. That same partner that you loved could become the most toxic partner right now in your life, because things and people change. When you have a knowing of this, a knowing, you're connected with your inner self. So when life hits you with that, how could that person do it? How could that person say that? Knowing comes in. They changed. All people change. You change. Everyone changes. Your kids change. Your parents change. Every suppressed emotion of the past has to come up at some point. It'll come out in the form of disease, or it'll come out in the form of anger or hurt, or an eruption of emotions that hurt so many people. That's why I never suppress. If you can't talk to someone about it, talk to someone else about it. You can't talk to anyone about it, write it down, burn it, journal it, burn it. But you have to take out what's over here, because it is going to come out at some point in life. No one escapes that. Unless you're unlucky or lucky enough to probably get hit by a bus and die just like that, or die in your sleep. Those people escape it. But for everyone else, it has to come up in some way or the other. It comes up in your own daily suffering, the limitations of your mind, how those chronic negative emotions weigh you down like bricks. They don't allow you to enjoy the things that you have in your life. So that's when you've lost connection. All of us have to reconnect with our spirit. When a child is connected with their spirit. They forget what made them angry the next day. They don't hold on. They don't emotionally blackmail you. They don't remind you of the past, everything that mature adults do. They're connected. They can be happy now, they can be crying, and they can be happy 2 minutes later. They're connected. It's called innocence. They're connected with their soul. They're connected with their spirit, like every human is supposed to. And that's why spirituality, or your religion, whatever it is, connects you. It teaches you connection first with yourself, living with consciousness. When you're not connected with yourself, it is impossible for you to feel fulfilled. You will feel empty no matter how much you have. So the reconnection with your spirit, for that we meditate, we sit in silence, we engage in deep reflection, in mindfulness, in the knowing that we are not entitled, in the knowing that people can change, in the knowing that we can be hurt. We will lose loved ones. The knowing is very important for us in order to live a fulfilling life. What's the next point? You are empty because you're trying to live someone else's dream. You're trying to live someone else's life because it sounds fancy. You try to talk like them. You try to walk like them. You try to be like them. You try to copy everything. You're empty. You're moving further away from your spirit. You're moving further away from your soul. That's creating disconnection, gap between your inner self and whatever is happening on the outside world, because you're living someone else's dream. So a lot of people, when they suddenly realize that this job was not my dream, it was my dad's dream. I'm in a business which was my father's dream. It's not what makes me happy. And then they start to do what makes them happy. They change their job, they build a new business, whatever it is. And they find themselves moving back to their spirits. And now they start to feel fulfilled. So if you're living someone else's dream, you're not living your own authentic, unique self, you're going to feel empty no matter how much you have. Another reason, when you have attached your self-esteem to other people, their compliments, their acknowledgements, the negatives that they say, or you've attached your self-esteem to your work. So when work is good, you feel confident and powerful. When work is bad, you crumble down, you feel negative, your self-esteem crashes. You attach your self-esteem to your values, to who you are, to who you believe you are. You have to have belief in yourself as a person, despite your flaws, despite your past, despite your failures. If you don't believe in yourself, you've outsourced your self-esteem to everyone else. So you got to reclaim that. How many of us have outsourced or attached our self-esteem to our body. If you've done that, guess what? Your body's going to change. You are going to grow old. You are going to get saggy. Your skin is going to get wrinkled, no matter what. I have people who have done cosmetic surgery the first, the second, the third, the fourth time. For many, there can't be a fifth time. The doctor says, I'm sorry, there's nothing more you can do. So you got to understand, if you attach your self-worth to your weight, to how thin you are, how muscular you are, the complexion that you have, the flawless skin, it's going to change at some point. And as that crashes, your self-esteem is also going to crash. You attach your self-esteem to the goodness that you have in your heart, your ability to be kind, your ability to be compassionate, your ability to help people, your ability to be respected for who you are, not what you're trying to be. So when you reconnect with your spirit, you start to reevaluate your self-esteem. And that is what helps you feel fulfilled, whether you have a lot, or the beauty is, even if you don't have much, but you have your self-esteem, you have your self-respect, you get through it without crashing emotionally. So that's important. When you attach your self-esteem to others, you start to feel misunderstood. You start to feel rejected more and more, because today is a good day, tomorrow is a bad day. 10 friends may say, oh, you look beautiful. And the 11th may come and say, hey, what's wrong with you? You look like you're putting on weight. You look like your skin's sagging. Hey, you got a wrinkle. Hey, you got a gray hair. You forget about what 10 people said and you focus on what one person said. What do you feel at the end of the day? Empty. Because your self-esteem, you got to know how you feel. Whether you have one gray hair or 10 gray hairs, you know that you are beautiful, or you are great, or you are awesome or amazing. Whether you're 40 or 30 or 50, you decide if you're amazing. You don't give that right to anyone else to decide who you should be or how you should feel. You feel empty when you do that. What's the next reason? You put your life aside to please other people because you want to be liked all the time. Reflect on this. How many of us are people pleasers? How many of us are doing things to be liked, to be appreciated? We all want appreciation and we all want to be liked, and that's fine. That's human. All of us want it. I want it. But are we going out of control? Constantly pleasing people because we feel so empty inside? The more you try to please people to be loved and liked, the more empty you're going to feel, because you're going out of your way. Again, you're moving away from your spirit to be someone that you're not, to please someone without the intention. Now, you want to please someone to make them feel good with the right intention? Of course, absolutely. Say a few kind words from your heart, that's fine. But you're doing it because you want to fill a void in you. You're making that void deeper and deeper. Very, very important. I want to talk to you and introduce you to a word called codependency. Codependency involves using other people for your sense of worth. So I only hang around with rich people because I feel important. Okay, I only ride in cars of my rich friends so I feel important. I try to buy handbags because all my rich people have handbags. Now I feel important. That's called codependency of your self-worth. You start building your self-worth depending on other people. You should be able to feel important without all of that stuff. Have a handbag, but it shouldn't define how important you feel. So by me putting on a Rolex watch or putting on a handbag, if that changes me and feel, oh, now my chest goes up and I walk with confidence, that is codependency of your self-worth on other people and material things. That leaves you feeling empty. Enjoy an expensive car because you love driving. But if an expensive car suddenly makes you feel more important and you start getting self-respect from people, you know, you're a fraud right there. Enjoy all the wealth in the world because you've earned it and you're using it to enjoy your life truly. But if your self-worth is dependent on what you have, you're empty right now. So again, you're going to move back to the spirit. You're going to move back to the soul. You're afraid of intimacy. A lot of people are afraid to intimately connect with partners, with friends, with siblings, with family. That's a huge issue. You're hiding because you're afraid of rejection. You don't allow people to come into your personal space because you don't want them to see the real you. All of us are wearing masks, trying to appear calm when actually we're angry, trying to say nice things just for the sake of saying nice things. The point is, as you keep doing this meaninglessly, you only get more and more empty. You should be able to say what you want assertively, respectfully, without making someone feel bad. That's your true, authentic self. But the more you try to say things to please people, it's a big problem. Coming back to intimacy, most relationships don't work out today. Number one, you can say trust and honesty and all the usual crap that people talk about, but they are also, it's not crap, it's important, but they forget they're hiding from intimacy. They don't want to show their partner, they don't want to show their parents or their kids or their siblings or their friends their true self. And hey, this is me with my flaws as well. The most beautiful thing in love is when you can be understood and accepted for who you are with your flaws. Otherwise, everyone out there is pretending. There are fake eyelashes, there are fake boobs and fake lips and fake butts and steroidal abs and muscles, and everything's becoming faker and faker, and people are getting emptier and emptier. All of this should be bringing more happiness to people, but is that the truth? No, statistics show us completely different things. There's more depression, there's more a want for love, the want for genuine appreciation. So don't be confused with all of these things. Wear all the fake stuff, but don't become a slave to it. When you put on that fake hair or that fake wig, or you pump yourself with steroids and become huge, walking around with muscles, if that makes you feel more important and more loved, right then you know you are codependent on other people. Your self-worth is codependent on things which are not real. After a while, you got to stop doing all of these things in life. You can't take more steroids. You can't take more testosterone. You can't do more Botox and all of that stuff. The depression that hits you is like a truck. It's like a truck because you've not learned acceptance. You've not learned letting go. You've not learned how to be happy with yourself and with your flaws. So intimacy in relationships, people are afraid to talk about their sexual wants, fantasies in their thing. They're stuck, and one partner expects the other partner to know about it. How the hell do you expect your partner to know what makes you happy? How do you know all of these things without communicating, without asking, without all of these things in place? So the whole point is you need to slow down and you need to make your notes. Everything that I'm talking about today, you need to make these points and now fit in. Where do I fit in? Is it comparison? Is it the loss of intimacy, the fear of intimacy? Is it codependency? Is it your low self-esteem? Is it your low self-worth? All of these things. Let's move to the next point. So you got to take the risk of allowing people into you, into your space. You're scared of hurt. You got hurt once. You got hurt 10 times. Big deal. Are you going to stop living your life because you got hurt 10 times? You know, you're acting out of fear. When you act out of a space of fear, your life can never, never be happy. It can never be fulfilling. It's going to be fearful. You're acting from a space of fear. What do you get? Fear. It's as simple as that. So you got to move. You got to take a risk. It's okay. I'll get hurt the 15th time before I find that true love. Or in that process of getting hurt, I'll learn a lot about myself. Maybe I'm too codependent. Maybe I'm not communicating enough. You know, all of those things come out. Lessons come out. You constantly keep getting hurt. Guess what? It's not always the fault of the other person. It could be. There's also a fault. There's a lot of fault that you got to look at. What lesson are you not learning? What change are you not making? You see, that's very, very important. Allow people into your life. It's okay if you're going to get hurt. Become bulletproof to hurt. You still attach so much of emotion to hurt, and that's why you're scared of hurt. That's why you're scared of hurt. You got to detach the emotion from it. Of course, someone betrays you. You're going to feel sad. It's not the end of the world. Someone leaves you. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of your life. No one gets it right the first time. A few lucky people do. Some don't. Some people change 10 jobs before they find their dream job. Some people build 5 businesses before they find their passion and that business empire that's going to fulfill them. So why are you so scared? You don't want to deal with your hurt. You don't want to take responsibility for it. You don't want to believe that you deserve better. You don't want to believe that you can be different. You don't want to believe. So when all of this happens again, you lock yourself up into a very small prison, your own mind. That leaves you feeling empty. You can't see the things that are going well for you. You can't enjoy the life that you have right in front of you, whether you have a lot or you don't have a lot, because you're stuck in that little prison. Sometimes it could be that you're stuck in the past, and that's why you feel empty. There's everything in front of you. You have a great partner in front of you. You have kids. You have your past, that emotional baggage, that emotional past. You've not cut it. It's weighing you down. You can't see all the goodness you have in you. So the past is your past. Okay, take counseling, take what you want, but suck it up and cut it. If your past is adding value to your present, okay, go ahead and keep indulging in your past. If your past is going to shape your future, forget my words and keep indulging in your past. If it's not serving you, it's not serving anyone. You're spoiling your current relationships and everything because of your past. You went. You can't control what's happened. If there's something you can do, do it. Call up that person who hurt you, write them a letter, say it on you, whatever. Take some action, but stop wallowing in the past, because that is what is keeping most people empty. You're stuck in the past. Fine, she hurt you, he hurt you, X, Y, Z. That's the past. No one's perfect, not even you. Life doesn't tell you that you will not be hurt. Life doesn't tell you that you will not be betrayed. We can hope and intend that these things don't happen to us, but when it happens, suck it up and move on. You have to. You may find this part of me aggressive. It's not aggressive, it's assertive. Because a lot of people can put you into hours and hours of therapy and medication. Take it if you need it. But are you doing your job of sucking it up and understanding and asking yourself these two questions? Is my past serving me? Is it adding value to my present and my future? If yes, forget what I said. I'm wrong. If no, start cutting away your past. It requires resilience, strength, letting your ego and pride come down. Yes, you got hurt. It's okay you got hurt. Now let your ego and pride come down a little bit so you can have a better present and a spectacular future. So a lot of people are stuck in their past. What's holding you back? Your childhood? Was there a trauma? A loss of trust? Okay, it's happened. It's happened. Now what can you do? You have a choice to let it control the rest of your life. Everyone. I don't know a single kid who can say my childhood was perfect, everything was great. Many people say it was great, but yeah, I had some issue with my dad, some issue with my mom. Everyone's going through it, suck it up. Some people have it dealt worse than others. I agree to that. But still, it doesn't change the fundamental that at some point you gotta outgrow your past. If you wanna feel fulfilled, if you wanna build a more meaningful life, what lessons can you take from that past? You had a bad childhood, didn't like your parents, you become a better parent. Okay, you went through bad friendships, you make sure that you go and you create new friendships for you now. There's always something from the past. Now there are some really bad traumas like a child rape or a child being murdered and stuff like that. You need help for that. I don't know how to understand that pain that someone would be going through. So of course you take that help. Of course it's going to be a difficult journey, but for everyone else, the more you start looking at the pettiness of your problems, people are always complaining and blaming and talking about things that are not that important anymore. You got to cut away from that habit so that you start filling yourself. Empty means you got to be filled. Filled with what? Not with distractions, not with more drugs, alcohol, shopping. That's not filling you up because the shopping's over, the alcohol's over, the drug, the joint is over. You're still sad again. You got to fulfill yourself with new memories that you're creating. Appreciation of what you have, goodness, rebuilding, recreating, letting go of the past is the easiest way to start filling yourself. So that's something that you need to do. Let's go to the next point. You don't know who you are or what makes you happy. You keep thinking that the things that make other people happy make you happy. And that's why reflection is important. A lot of people socialize and they don't want to socialize, but they say that's what the trend is. Who cares what the trend is? Ask yourself, is it fulfilling me and making me happy, or would I rather sit at home and spend some time with my family or kids or alone and get a bath and watch some TV? You choose. Many people are empty because they don't know what makes them happy. They're dependent on their partner or their family or their friends to emotionally fulfill them all the time. They don't know what fulfills them. So they've outsourced it to other people. And when the partner or the family or the friend is fulfilling you, you're happy. When they don't fulfill you, you're angry. You have expectations. You become negative. You blame them for changing. You say, hey, you don't know what makes me happy. Why should anyone know what makes you happy if you don't know what makes yourself happy? So own responsibility for that. Own responsibility for that. If you want your partner to know what makes you happy, you have the guts to tell your partner what makes you happy. I can't tell you the amount of women and men out there in relationships, but my partner should know. We spent 5 years together. No, your partner doesn't have to know. You need to tell them. You need to ask for what you want, period. Don't live your entire life expecting people to know. If you don't ask for something, you're not going to get it. It's as simple as that. So many relationships like that. I expect him to know. I expect her to know. She should know me. You need to know yourself first. Do you know yourself? Do you know what makes you happy? Do you know how to handle solitude on your own? So stop outsourcing the responsibility of your emotions and fulfillment on other people. It is your responsibility. It's your spirit. No one can fulfill you better than yourself. And when you know what fulfills you, you communicate. And this doesn't make me happy. I would prefer this. What's wrong with that? For that, you need maturity. And that's why partnerships have to become mature, not just fancier, not just about doing fun stuff all the time. They also have to grow. They have to mature. That's when the emptiness feelings go, because you can talk, you can communicate, you can understand one another. So that's very, very important. Okay, I want to go on to one more topic before we end this and before I give you a couple of tips of what you can do. I made notes because one of the common questions are, Luke, I feel empty in relationships. But my partner loves me. I know he loves me. I know she loves me. Oh, we're very happy, but I feel empty in my relationships. Okay, I made a couple of points that you need to reflect on. Number one, like I said, are you dependent on your partner to emotionally fulfill you all the time? If yes, that's the reason why you're feeling empty. You have to know what fulfills you, and you need to start doing stuff on your own. Okay? Sometimes a walk on the beach alone without your partner can be fulfilling for you. Do it. Reconnecting with your old friends, going out on a solo trip, travel, so many things. Ask yourself. But if you're dependent completely on your partner to fulfill you emotionally, that's why you're empty. Your emotional needs are not getting met in your relationship because you're waiting. And then you go and tell your friends, he's not doing this. He should do it. Why don't you just ask? These are my emotional needs. Communicate them in a nice way, not in a nagging way, not in a negative way. Communicate them. Let your partner know what it takes to emotionally fulfill you. For that, communication is required. Lack of physical connection and intimacy. You've built a wall because you don't want to be hurt from your past experiences. You're not allowing that person to come completely into your heart and understand you completely into your life. You've made boundaries. Lack of physical connection. Physical connection is needed for relationships, whether you like it or not, because of the chemicals involved with it. Oxytocin, serotonin, the feel good, the cuddle hormones, all of these things together. So there must be. The worst thing in a relationship is when you punish your partner by rationing out the sex, by rationing out whatever. If you have a good reason for that, fine. But if you're trying to emotionally blackmail, oh, my husband didn't do this, my wife didn't do this, I'm not going to sleep with him for 10 days. Believe me, that emotional blackmail card is used by partners all the time, and that is the most damaging thing that leaves you feeling empty in relationships. Physical connection, intimacy, emotional needs, emotional connections are necessary for you in a relationship not to feel empty. Boredom. You're bored. You're doing the same damn things every time. You have to keep spicing it up, whether it's the love making, whether it's going to different places, doing different things, doing different hobbies, taking up new things. If you're expecting your relationship to be the same as it was when it started, you're highly mistaken. You got to do different things for things to change. You want different results, you do different things. Of course, if you're stressed out, you can't give your relationship importance, what happens? Okay, it lacks, it starts dying down, and then you feel empty, even though you have it right there in front of you. So these are some of the points that you have to understand, especially in relationships, why you feel empty. Oh, you're comparing. Oh, look at that guy. Look at her husband. He does so much. He earns so much. He looks so good. Look at that one's wife. She looks so pretty. She does this. She does that. Of course, you just remove the spark out of your own relationship. You are going to feel empty. So that takes you back to your first point, comparison. Comparison. So remember, now we get into solution mode. Start building connection. Number one, with your spirit. Know yourself. Life purpose, you may not find it today or tomorrow. But right now, if your hobby could become a purpose. A housewife once told me, Luke, my life purpose is preparing healthy food and clean food with love for my children and my husband. That was a beautiful life purpose. A life purpose doesn't have to be something spiritual. It doesn't have to be something huge. My life purpose would be to respect my health and have a great life. My life purpose would be to give time to my parents and my loved ones. There are so many different life purposes. purposes. Don't look at social media. My life purpose is to make cryptocurrency work for me and build $1 billion unicorn and all of that stuff. Those are not life purposes. They are not life purposes. My life purpose is to evolve, to get better than I was 1 year ago, to improve my health. These are beautiful life purposes. So don't complicate the meaning of a life purpose. Remember, sometimes you also feel empty because you've changed. You've changed, you've evolved. And now it's time to outgrow certain friendships, outgrow certain relationships that no longer inspire you, that no longer serve you. You've got to let go gracefully. Spend less time over there. Spend more time with yourself or with new people who fulfill you. So sometimes you have to realize it's okay to outgrow relationships and friendships that do not serve you because you've changed. If you've not changed, that feeling wouldn't come up. Okay? So find your purpose. A hobby. Start off with a simple hobby. What do you do on a daily basis? That's my purpose. For the next 1 month, my purpose is to wake up and have a morning routine, to practice gratitude, do a little bit of pranayama, yoga. I'm just giving you examples. Okay, what do you like doing? Is what you're doing right now really your passion? If not, do you know what your passion is? What would it be that you rather do than this right now? Maybe you need to do this right now, but you should always know that at some point, I'm going to have that farmhouse. At some time, I'm going to build an old age home. Sometime I'm going to have this beautiful integrated hospital. So right now you're doing your work, but there's a passion. There's something to look forward to that gives you a sense of worth. It takes away that empty feeling because the mind has something to look forward to. Meditate, find clarity, reflection, beautiful reflection. It is so important for you to create the life that you want first in your mind. But when you're empty, all you look at is emptiness. You got to be creating the life that you want in your mind first. Very, very important for you. So I'm going to share with you a beautiful guided meditation. All you need to do is find a quiet space and listen and practice. Journal. Start writing. When you write, everything from inside starts to come out beautifully. Don't judge what you write, just write. Build great relationships. Look for understanding. I think everyone has a different definition of love. For me, love is understanding. When someone can understand you for who you are, what you've done, your flaws, your imperfections, your perfections, everything. I think that's the most beautiful form of love for me. For you, it may be different. Build great relationships that go beyond just physical looks and who has what and who's doing what and who's at which party. Because at the end of the day, that's what's going to make the relationship survive, whether it's with your family, your parents, your siblings. Build great relationships. Learn to accept. Learn to let go. The more you hold on, the more you don't accept, the more empty you feel. Learn to forgive. Learn to ask for forgiveness, because this is emotional baggage that is also weighing you down. It's pulling you so low that you stay empty. You got to cut away so you can rise back up and start fulfilling your life, filling your life with the right things. And that's why it comes back to you. And this is what you do. All the shopping, all the travel, do that. That's not going to fulfill you. Do it because it's nice. You got to remember at the end of the day, number one, that only you can fix yourself. And the first step is reconnecting with yourself. Reconnecting with yourself. Then putting yourself into buckets. Am I comparing? Where is my self-worth attached? Where is my self-esteem attached? Do I have codependency in my relationships? Am I expecting emotional fulfillment when people don't even know what I emotionally want, when I don't know what I emotionally want? Dig deeper. Don't scratch the surface. Your purpose. The human mind should always have something to look forward to, always. And that's what keeps you from feeling empty. And also feeling empty sometimes is not a bad thing, because when we feel empty, it helps us to introspect. What in my life is not working for me that when I have so much, I'm still feeling empty? So don't look at emptiness as negative. Look at it as a stimulant to move us into action. It's telling us something. It's a symptom. Emptiness is telling us that you got to change the way you live, reconnect with yourself, maybe outgrow some relationships, all of that together. And that's your homework for you to introspect, reflect, visualize, write down, find out why you're feeling empty. A lot of us say, oh, my family left me, people died, I'm empty. Of course you feel empty for a while. But what are you doing right now to fulfill yourself? What are you doing? You can't just expect. Of course, you lose someone, you're empty for a while. But you don't end it there. Start rebuilding, recreating. So, okay, I've lost someone, but I still have a life purpose. I have something to get back to. We're all going to lose loved ones. We're going to lose friends, family, but you have a purpose to come back and live a fulfilling life. And for that, you need to design that. You are the author. You are the designer of that part of your life. Thanks for your time, everyone, and see you in the new year where we do our next masterclass. Have a great break. My wishes to you and your family. Happy New Year in advance, and thank you for your time.